Steven Universe isn't just a cartoon, it's a life lesson. It's fascinating to see how a character like Steven can be so unique because he completely breaks away from the typical cartoon stereotypes we usually see. Typically, we see a strong protagonist, full of confidence, with the courage to face anything and everyone. But Steven isn't like that. He's chubby, sensitive, and he doesn't like to fight. That's exactly why he shows us that we need to love ourselves the way we are, without worrying about fitting into a standard or what others think of us. After all, Steven shows us that we're human, we're not perfect. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and it's up to us to make the choice to want to change and become better. If you're new to the channel, subscribing would really help, but without further ado, let's continue. Steven Universe is a cartoon that, at first glance, you might think is just a show about aliens or magical gems that come from space to Earth, bringing this whole imaginary world full of vibrant colors. But people who see it only as a fantasy show for kids haven't noticed how deep it truly is. It's a show that you find fun as a child, but only really understand its true values as you grow older. Steven Universe teaches us that expressing feelings, emotions, showing vulnerability, and even weakness can be a strength. Many people think that being strong means not showing any emotions, being cold, and never talking about what they feel. I understand why people might be like that. Often, this insecurity about expressing oneself comes from the fear that no one will understand and that they'll be seen as overly dramatic, or simply because it's hard to trust others. I say this from my own experience. Maybe you have other reasons, but for me, it's hard to trust someone. It's something I need to work on. Of course, I'm not saying you should trust just anyone. I mean the people close to you. After all, there's also the other side of the coin. People who trust others easily and share their lives openly. I think it's great when someone feels comfortable sharing their feelings, but I believe it's important to know who you're talking to. That's just my perspective. Steven doesn't hold grudges. He knows how to forgive. He doesn't want to hurt anyone, even if he's hurt by that same person. He's empathetic, sitting down to listen and trying to understand the other person's side. Maybe much of this comes from being a child, from his innocence, yet he still shows incredible maturity. In the end, he acts like a regular kid who just wants to play and have fun. This show shows us how strong Steven truly is because of all these qualities. We're so used to hearing that expressing feelings is a sign of weakness, but understanding others' feelings is a great power that few possess. Though it may be rare, it's something that keeps the colors in our world. Steven Universe is a show that every child should watch, not just children but anyone, because, as I said, Steven Universe is a learning experience. As you follow each episode, you grow and learn alongside him. Even if the messages in the show aren't always explicit, just the fact that a child watches it helps build affection and instills the values it shares. This happened to me when I was around 14 or 15 years old. I enjoyed watching it, mostly because of the concept of the gems, and for some reason, I found it addictive. At the time, I couldn't explain why I was watching, but I did. As I grew up, I slowly started to understand what the show was trying to convey. It's amazing how, when you grow older, you begin to notice things you've seen so many times before but never really paid attention to. If I remember correctly, the episodes that made for think were when I saw Steven wearing his mom's clothes. I didn't understand why he was wearing a skirt and all, but as I grasped his story, I saw how he was completely confused about who he was, whether he was himself or his mother. Those episodes truly touched me, and from then on, I started rewatching everything with this new perspective. The gem fusion is such a beautiful metaphor, speaking about relationships with others, which I could talk more about in a future video since it also touches on toxic relationships, like that between lapis lazuli and jasper, a delicate topic. But in the show, it's presented subtly, at least for a child. That's what I love about this show. It discusses so many issues that are widely debated today, yet it handles them without forcing anything. Steven Universe is a work that's incredibly well written and thoughtfully created. Steven's mother Rose shows how incredible humans are in the way they see the world. It makes us stop and reflect, trying to realize that we're really in an amazing place that we often don't value. Rose can convey her love for the world and for humans, especially since she comes from a place that doesn't have what we have, things we don't value enough, like the sea, the wind, the trees, nature in general, and even the fact that we can age, constantly grow, and one day pass away. These are things that make our world and humanity beautiful. There's a great episode about aging, where Steven ages according to his mindset, which, like it or not, is something we all go through and find complicated to deal with. It's an interesting episode. This world is full of so many possibilities. Every living being has a totally unique experience. The sights they see, the sounds they hear, the lives they lead, they're so complicated and yet so simple. simple. I can't wait for you to join them, but I need you to know that at every moment, I hope you love being yourself. This was a video Steven's mom left for him, and as Rose said, I hope you love being you. Steven Universe covers so many themes and topics that I think are really interesting and worth reflecting on. Leave comments with animations you'd like me to analyze from my perspective. I always try to bring a philosophical question to my analyses.